What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're back with another video. It's the Chapter 6 review. It's me, your host, of course, Mr. Goldman, and the fabulous First Period. Woo! You can feel the energy in the room. Very exciting. All right. Solve inequalities. Show your work. I'm gonna solve inequalities the same as I solve equations, except if I divide or multiply by a negative number, I have to flip the sign. So here, I'm just gonna subtract 1 from both sides. That goes to 0. I always circle 0 pairs and make sure that there's a positive and a negative in each one. And I have 3m is less than or equal to 9. Divide both sides by the coefficient, which is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times m is less than or equal to 3. Voila. 3x minus 7 is less than 3 minus 2x. There's no distributive property, and I cannot combine like terms. So my first step is going to be to move variable terms to one side. Negative 2x is smaller than 3x, and what kind of person am I, First Period? Thank you. Lazy. So I'm going to move the smaller of the variable terms. So I'm going to add 2x because that makes a 0 pair. So now I have 5x minus 7 is less than 3. And now I want to move the constant terms to the other side. My constant terms are negative 7 and 3. So I'm going to move this negative 7 away from the variable term. So I make a 0 pair. Remember, I'm a fair parent. I treat both of my sides of my inequality equally. So when I add 7, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. I get 5x is less than 10. Divide by the coefficient, which is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times x is less than 2. Of course, on the test, you should be plugging these in. 61 plus x is greater than or equal to 1,500. I'm going to subtract 61 from both sides. That goes away, and I have x is greater than or equal to 1,439, I hope. Feels like a problem I would make a mistake on, but there you go. All right. So, number 4, which of the following is showing the solutions to x is greater than 6? So now we're in graphing. I don't know how well you can see these pictures, so I'm just going to graph this. My boundary point is 6 because that's what makes both sides equal. I'm just going to put a few other numbers to show that I know that my number line is increasing as it goes to the right. Period 1 is going to be an open circle or closed circle? Open circle. And the arrow goes that way. 7's in my solution. Is 7 greater than 6? Yes, I did it right. There we go. Number 5, solve for x and show the steps. 4x plus 3 plus x equals 2x plus 6. First step is combine like terms. I'm just going to write that. The box is annoying me. Combine like terms, and I get 5x plus 3 equals 2x plus 6. Now, again, I'm going to move the variable terms to one side. 2x is the smaller variable term. In order to make a 0 pair, I subtract 2x from 2x. And in order to be a fair parent to my equation, I do the same thing to both sides. 5x minus 2x is 3x. 3x plus 3, that's 0, equals 6. And now I'm going to move the constant terms. To make a 0 pair with 3, I subtract 3. Do the same thing to both sides. And I get 3x equals 3. Not the last step. I'm going to divide by the coefficient. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times x is x. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay. I'm going to plug this one in. I'm not going to do it for all of them, just in the interest of time, but just to show you what you should be doing. We're going to put in a 1 wherever I see an x. 4 times 1 is 1. Plus 3 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 6 is 8. Woohoo! Remember, 8 is not the solution, right? 1 is the solution, because the solution to an equation is the value of the variable that makes both sides of the equation equal. (5x minus 3 minus x). 5x minus 3 minus x equals x minus 6. Combine like terms first. This can get a little tricky. Remember, the sign to the left dictates whether it's negative or positive. So this is 5x minus x, which is 4x, and then don't forget minus 3. X is my smaller variable term, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. 0. 4x minus x is 3x. Minus 3 equals negative 6. Another very common mistake would be to forget that this is negative 6. Now I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Notice negative 6 is smaller, but I'm still going to add the 3 because I want to get the variable all by itself. So we have 3x equals negative 3. Again, divide by the coefficient, and we get x equals negative 1. Right? Number 7, 4x minus 5 equals negative x plus 5. I'm going to start by adding x to both sides. Notice I'm adding because originally my variable term is negative. That goes to 0. 4x plus x is 5x minus 5 equals 5. Now I'm going to add 5 to both sides. That goes to 0, and 5x equals 10. Divide both sides by the coefficient, and we get x equals 2. Does this equation have one, infinite, or no solutions? I can tell right away it's going to have one solution, and the reason is the only way for it to have none or infinite or all real numbers is for the variables to cancel out. So if I have b plus 4b, this becomes 5b minus 3 equals 2, which I'm going to write over here. 5b minus 3 equals 2. If we add 3 to both sides, we get 5b equals 5. Divide by the coefficient, and we get b equals 1. So this would be one solution, and the solution is b equals 1. Number 9. Combine like terms, negative 5b plus 5b is 0, right? And 0 equals 0 always. So it doesn't matter what b is, 0 is always going to equal 0. So infinite. (5n equals 5n plus 2). Well, let's subtract 5n from both sides. That goes to 0, and that goes to 0, and we get 0 equals 2. And this is called a contradiction. So there is no solution. No matter what you put in for n, 0 will never equal 2. So that has no solution. Number 11, write an equation, do not solve it. So this would be standard 12. A box of fruit has 3 times as many nectarines as grapefruit. Together there are 36 pieces of fruit. How many pieces of each type of fruit are there? Okay, 3 times as many nectarines as grapefruit. So there's more nectarines. So nectarines equals 3 times grapefruit. Nectarines plus grapefruit equals 36. And now I'm going to substitute, because this is an illegal equation because there's 2 variables. But I know that n equals 3g. So I'm going to substitute 3g plus g equals 36. And that is my equation. It has one variable, and I can solve it. All right, the perimeter of a rectangle is 120 feet. Okay, so perimeter, well, if the length of the rectangle is 10 feet more than the width, what are the dimensions of the rectangle? So perimeter is length plus width plus width. And we know that that equals 120 feet. But I also know that the length is 10 feet more than the width. So length equals width plus 10. So this is what I'm going to substitute here and here. So I'm going to have W plus 10 plus W plus 10 plus W plus W equals 120. And that would be my answer. All right, number 13. Jorge has some dimes and quarters. He has 10 more dimes and quarters. The collection's worth $2.40. How many dimes and quarters does Jorge have? So the collection's worth $2.40. So this is the one is definitely more challenging. So dimes, if D is number of dimes, and Q is number of quarters, and dimes are 10 cents. So you would have 0.10 times D is the cost, is the amount of money you have in dimes. And then 0.25 times Q is the amount of money you would have in quarters, because it's 0.25 times the number of quarters. And that equals $2.40. But he has 10 more dimes than quarters. So dimes equals quarter plus 10. So my equation would be 0.10, remember here's where I'm going to substitute, times in parentheses Q plus 10 plus 0.25 Q equals $2.40. All right, last problem. Oh, penultimate problem. Write an equation and solve it. Show your work. A wood board is 30 inches long. It is cut into two pieces. One piece is 17 inches longer than the other. So we have a short board plus long board equals 30. The long board is 17 inches longer than the other. So long equals short plus 17. That's what I'm going to substitute. So I have short plus 17 equals 30. And now I'm going to solve this. Combine like terms, 2s plus 17 equals 30. Subtract 17 from both sides. That goes to 0, and I have 2s equals 13. Divide by the coefficient, and we get s equals 6.5 inches. So the long board would be 17 plus 6.5, which equals 23.5 inches. So that would be the length of your two boards. Two consecutive numbers have a sum of 45. What are the numbers? So remember, consecutive numbers are one after another. So if your first number is n, your second number is n plus 1. You don't need these parentheses. I'm just putting them for clarity. And that's going to equal 45. I know that I'm adding because it says sum. N plus n is 2n plus 1 equals 44. Subtract 1 from both sides, and we have 2n. Oh, I don't know. I jumped the gun. Woohoo! 45 minus 1 is 44. And now I'm going to divide both sides by the coefficient, and I get n equals 22. So my two consecutive numbers are 22 and 23. Right? Those are consecutive because 23 comes after 22, and their sum is 45. Thank you very much, and good luck on your test on Friday. Woo! Period 1. The energy, the excitement. Declan, don't kiss the camera, please. Thank you.